Hi, this is Marianne with a scrapbooking process video. Today I used the Cocoa Daisy May 2014 kit. I used 2 sheets of pattern paper and I added a piece of white cardstock from my stash. Right there I took out 2 new distress paints, new to me. I think it is Tattered Rose and Ice Spruce. And I'm going to use 2 different Tim Holtz stencils on there. If you watch my other video, you know I had just taken a class with Tim Holtz and we did this technique in his class. So I just took a little piece of scrap paper, little scrap piece of white paper to see if I'm going to like what I'm going to do before I commit to putting it on the actual white cardstock. So that little piece there is just going to be my practice piece. So I'm just opening up my distress paints. And the papers that I'm using out of the Cocoa Daisy kit, one is from crepe paper and one is from Teresa Collins, I believe. So the technique is you take the distress paint, you dab a little bit onto your craft sheet, probably about a quarter size amount, and then you take the mini ink applicator, the foam applicator, and you just suck up all the paint onto the applicator, like right there I'm doing it. And then starting in the middle of the stencil, you're going to apply a heavy bit of the paint in the middle. So you're going to pounce harder, and then as you go out towards the edges, you're going to use less and less so that it fades out. So there you see, that's what I did. And that one is called Ice Spruce. I really like that color and that stencil. So on my little practice piece, so now I knew I'm going to like it, and now I'm going to commit to the big piece of paper. I just wanted to make sure it was going to coordinate okay with my my pattern paper that I picked. So heavy in the middle, and then pounce it a little bit less and less towards the edges so it fades out. And as I was pouncing on my desk, my tripod was also bouncing around a little bit that has my camera on it, so it got a little shaky. So I'm just doing this stencil on 2 parts of the layout of the pattern of the white cardstock, up towards the top and down towards the bottom. So I know eventually some of this is going to get covered up. I don't really have a plan for this page. Don't I say that every time? I really don't. I just know I wanted to use some of the May 2014 kit, Cocoa Daisy kit, and I decided to do like a little mixed media on there. So I opened up some of my new paint and my new stencils and just got a little messy there. So that's all. That Tattered Rose went on really light, and that was okay. So I'm just playing with my new supplies and just tapping it down. And I really like that stencil too, from Tim Holtz. So I think I got one at the scrapbook store where I took the class, the one that kind of is very scrolly looking, and the dot one I think I got at Joann's. We have a brand new Joann's right by my house that has, it's a beautiful store. There's never anybody in there. And they have a lot of Tim Holtz stuff, and it was all on sale. In other scrapping news, today we got the word that Two Peas in a Bucket is closing. I am really, really sad over that news. It's my scrappy home. I visit there every day. That's where I run the Stash Busters challenge. But we're going to be moving over to Cocoa Daisy's message board, actually, in the challenge form. So I hope you'll come find us there if that's something you're interested in. I plan on still running them for now. Okay, so I did my painting on my background page, and now I am going to cut into that big floral from crepe paper. It's really pretty paper. It's a lot, though. It's a big floral, so I'm just going to use a small strip of it. And I know I want the pink and some of that pretty mint green in it, so I'm just going to use that little strip right there. And this is just a picture of my family from a few summers ago. Me and my 2 daughters and my 2 nieces and one of my sister-in-laws. So the other piece of paper that I'm using is the Teresa Collins one, and I just I'm going to cut up a bunch of the, I guess, journaling cards, 4x6 cards, and I'm going to arrange them around the photo. So that's really my only idea now, after I did a little mixed media on the background. So now I'm just going to cut up this piece of paper, put it around the photo, and then my idea is to just look through some of my die cuts and layer my die cuts around it. And that's really it. And then my page will be done. And maybe I'll use, a few things that came in the kit. I'm going to pull out a few things here and there. So now I'm just arranging those little cards. I guess, they're good to use for Project Life. I don't do Project Life, but they're perfect just to slide into a photo sleeve. And I really like those stickers. Those came with the kit, the Now and Then from, I want to say it's from My Mind's Eye, and all this little stuff came in the kit. So 3 little flares, some frames, the pieces of chipboard, a piece of ribbon, that cat's eye chalk ink came. So lots of good stuff in this pretty kit. And I was glad I just finally got a chance to open it and play with some stuff. So I'm trying to see if I can fit one in that pink frame. That's not going to work. But that gold sparkly frame, I really love that. That's going to make it on the layout. And I'm going to put a piece of flare in it. And that little flare has a little mason jar on it, and it says love. Got 2 of those dark brown craft tags in the kit. I'm not going to end up using that. And that doily came from, it was just hanging around on my desk from my last layout. So I'm not going to use that doily on here, but I am going to use a different doily. So I'm just cutting down that big floral pattern paper. I'm just going to use that little bit of strip, and I'm going to ink the edges with Prima chalk ink in Old Road. And I'm really going to have to throw that one out soon. It's shredding every time I use it. And little pieces of the ink pad end up all over the place. So I'm just going to ink all my edges of my cards. And then I'm going to place them around the page. And that little family one I like. I debated whether to cut off the top of that and use that little frame on something else, but it's just going to be another piece of paper sitting on my desk that I'm not sure what to do with. So, and I actually like the other side of that Teresa Collins paper too. It's a craft with a pretty design in white on it. So I know that black and white polka dot one, I really liked that kind of above the page. And I'm not sure at this point if I'm going to make a title or not, so I'm thinking, I could probably write a title in that white spot up there. And now I'm just kind of arranging a few things that are sitting right in front of me around the page. And now I believe I'm going to go get my die cuts. So I'm going to look through my stash a little bit and see if I just have anything I want to use. I pulled out that package of die cuts. I think it's from Simple Stories, but I don't end up using that. I have a few pieces of paper that match that Simple Stories line that I'll be using, hopefully using up soon. So here I am again with these chipboard, that package of chipboard from Crepe Paper Flea Market. Every layout I've done lately, I keep coming back to that. And I believe I took out the ephemera pack. I think that's from Flea Market too. I know it's from Crepe Paper, but I'm not exactly sure what line. And the gold doilies I had just bought from Studio Calico. So I figured they're going to make their way onto there. And those, so I just went through some of my die cuts that I had laying around, and the 2 I picked out happened to be from one of the layouts I did with Flea Market, and it was a cut-apart sheet, and they were left on my desk. So they were both in pink, so I took them out to use on this layout. And now I'm just going through that chipboard sheet, see if there's anything I might want to use. And I did pick out that one right there, that mason jar one, and I'm just going to take the stickiness off with my powder tool. That doesn't end up making on the layout, but I thought it might. It had the right colors in it, that mint green and the pink. So I like the way that gold doily looks under there, and I'm going to use those two pink little cutouts there, just layer them up. So my color scheme is going to be mint green and pink. And now I'm just going to go through those die cuts that came in. I think it's Flea Market. It was from Crepe Paper. And that one is a gold polka dot tag that I layered up there. That doesn't end up on the page, but I debated on using it because I liked the gold on here too, for sure. So I found a piece of, from the ephemera pack. It looks like, I guess, the back of an old playing card in green, that mint green, so I layered that underneath. And I'm just going to put those two pink pieces around. I know I want that little slide mount in glittery gold, and I put a piece of flare in it, and there was a big flower that's going to go on there, and then this little thing, it's like a little train ticket in green that I layered up top. So I have some of that green all around the layout and some gold all around the layout. And then there was a little die cut that had the month of June on there, so I'm going to put that on there because that's when the photo was taken. And there's another viewfinder reel that I wasn't sure if I was going to use. So that's it. That's what's going to end up on the layout ultimately. I'm just going to play with the placement a little bit more. And there was also a little die cut that said "This Matters," and that black one on the bottom there. That ends up making it. So that's it so far. And I had a little space next to the, right there. I'm going to put that pink butterfly. I have to get rid of the stickiness first. And I wasn't sure I really liked it there. Maybe I want one of those gold hearts underneath. That sticker sheet came with the Cocoa Daisy kit. And so, not sure what to do, so now I'm going to ink the edges and glue. And I do notice that when I glue down this little pink, it wasn't exactly where I had it the first time, but that's okay. I end up liking it where it is, so it's fine. And now the little pink tag. So everything is the same tone of pink and that mint green because it all comes from the same collection. And it's all Maggie Holmes. So like I've said previously, it all coordinates together. So I'm just going to ink the edges, and then I think I'm going to pop dot that one. Yep, I'm going to put some pop dots on there. I use the American Craft ones, the circles. I really like those ones. And still layering. So I subscribe to Cocoa Daisy. I really like their kits. There's always something exclusive in them, usually papers, and you really get a lot for your money, I feel like anyway. So I hate to miss a kit of theirs. And Studio Calico, I just resubscribed recently, but my run is only going to be 6 months with them. These little glue dots that I'm using, I don't know where they came from. They were in my adhesive drawer. I think they were probably an original package from back in the day. They're really mini, like teeny tiny. So I had them laying around. I figured I'd use them up before they stopped sticking. They're still pretty sticky, but they're really, really tiny. And so these die cuts also came in the Cocoa Daisy kit, but they're more modern. They're not really going to fit with this layout, not the look I was going for. So I put them away. And I'm just going to glue down whatever is loose. And then I'm going to want to fill up that space on the top, that white space with the bracket. And those gold rub-ons I got in the last Studio Calico kit. Well, I think it was the May kit. And I do end up putting a little bit on this layout. So that gold heart from the sticker sheet, couldn't quite decide where I was going to put that. And this piece of chipboard, it was a chipboard speech bubble that came with the Cocoa Daisy kit. So I got a great idea that I'm going to paint it with the ice spruce and see if I like the way that looks, because it could use, you know, a little green up there. So I just painted it a little bit with the distress paint, and it absolutely looks like nothing. So that's not going to work. So maybe I'm going to add, I think I'm going to try the pink distress ink on top of it now to see if I like maybe the two colors together. Yeah, so I'm going to try the pink distress paint, see how I like the way that looks. And nope. Oh, I'm going to take out the letters. Yeah, so I'm going to take out the letters, which are giving me a little bit of a hard time. Okay, so the letters are out, and don't like it. Nope, don't like it at all. So then I decide, well, maybe I will paint it with some mist. So I took out my Heidi Swap Color Shine Mist in a paintbrush, and I'm just going to paint it, see how I like that. And the mist didn't really look right against the distress paint. So now I'm going to take out my gesso, and I'm going to paint the whole thing white gesso, so it will be like starting over. So it will give me a nice clean palette to work with, because my idea is now that I'm going to paint with the pink mist, because I need a pop of pink up there is what I'm thinking. So, and now the gesso is wet, so I would like to heat set it so it dries so I can continue on with my page. And now I have to go find my heat embosser because it wasn't right where I keep it. And then once I find it, then I have to find the plug to plug it in. I don't like to keep it plugged in because it's an older heat gun, and I just feel like I don't really trust it. So I unplug it every time I use it and put it away, and then I couldn't find it. So I'm sure it shows up here at some point. There it is, and it rolled in the wet gesso. So now I've got white gesso all over my heat embosser, which is okay because it's probably, I don't know, 11 years old maybe. So I'm just going to dry the gesso so I can paint it with the pink mist. So that's why, I mean, I like chipboard because you can always start over if you don't like what you're doing. So I really like this, the Heidi Swap Color Shine Mist, and I like the pink color of it, the shade. And so I'm just painting it, and it kind of had a weird look to it, I guess because of the gesso underneath it. I'm not really sure what happened. So it's done, and honestly I am not loving it at all. And when I put it up there on my page, it just does not fit at all. I think it's a little too modern looking, or I'm not sure what the term is. It does not fit with the vibe of my layout at all. So after all that painting and misting and drawing and whatever, I don't end up using it. So now I thought maybe the problem was it just needed something to back it. So I tried that gold tag, and now I'm going to try a little piece of black cardstock to see maybe if that's what the problem is. Maybe I just need to back it with something. Because I really, after, you know, doing those techniques on it, or that painting, I really did want to use it. But then I just had to live with the fact that it doesn't really belong on the layout. It adds nothing to it. It doesn't look right. And it's not going to find its home there. Oh, I forgot I tried one more thing. I used Stays On ink and inked up my go-to French script stamp to give it maybe a little bit more shabby look, and even that didn't save it. So since I had out the stamp anyway, I just stamped the places where I had painted on the cardstock. So I just inked it up a tiny bit and then stamped off some of the ink so that the black wouldn't be so glaring on the layout. So it's just another little layer on top of the painting in the background there. So after my failure with my chipboard, now I decided I just need to clean up my space a little bit. So, because I'm going to regroup and decide what do I want to do up there. And that little piece of the Maggie Holmes, the crepe paper, pattern paper, was just laying on my desk. I thought maybe I wanted to put it over the journaling spot just to change the look over there. But I don't end up using that. I'm trying a few things. You know how sometimes things are going along well and then you kind of hit the wall and then you're not sure what you want to do with the layout? That's kind of what happened to me here. So I cleaned up my space and regrouped and looked at the cut apart sheet again, and this little card that said Lucky, I had thought about using it originally when I picked my papers and didn't. So it's got the pink that I want on it, so I decided that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to layer it on top of the photo there. And I already have that gold heart sticker, and then I took a piece of the flea market chipboard. It's like a double heart thing, and I'm going to use that, but now I'm not liking the way it layers with that gold sticker. So I'm going to pull up the gold sticker, fix the Lucky card, and then layer it all up. It's just a little tricky there because the journaling card, the one that says beautiful, had a lot of little writing towards the top, so the way it was laying on top of everything was a little squishy up there. So now I'm going to, the bottom part of the Lucky card that I cut off had like a little pink strip on the bottom there, and I just felt like underneath the beautiful word it just needed a little something there. So I just cut a little piece of that pink paper off to a little strip. I'm having a little trouble with my glue pen there. It actually fell apart. The whole tip fell out. I don't know how that happened, but I guess I have to buy a new one. So I'm just gluing that on there, and then I'm much happier now that I got rid of that chipboard that just wasn't working, even though, you know, I did some techniques to it. That's okay. It'll find its way on something else. And I'm just going to use this little gold rub-on, the little bow. It fit right at that corner perfectly. So I'm going to put that there. And those are from Dear Lizzie, I believe. They came in that Studio Calico kit. And I think soon my camera battery is going to run out, although I didn't realize how close to the end I was. So off camera at the very end, I do add some misting. I add 3 colors of mist: the gold lame, some mint, and some primrose, all from Heidi Swapp Color Shine. And I'm showing you a few close-ups there. And I am going to journal. So I decided to not do a title on this layout because it does just say family on there, and that's really all I wanted it to say. It's just a nice portrait shot of us all. And so I'm going to do a little journaling and a little misting, and there will be, so here's where I started